For many people, having a child is one of the greatest joys in life, and it should be. But for too many American families, that happiness is shattered by the death of the mother.
Every time I tell Kira's story, I'm right back in that hospital room. I can hear the beeps of the monitors. I can smell it. I can see the look on her face.
White moms in America die more often than women in countries like France, Germany, and New Zealand. And when you add in racial disparities, well, the situation becomes even worse. Black women in the United States experience 2 to 3 times the rate of maternal mortality than any other race or ethnicity.
For what we expected to be the happiest day of our lives, and we walked straight into a nightmare.
I wanted to find out why maternal health had deteriorated from when my sons were born, what needed to change, and where there were signs of hope. Several years ago, I read an article in the New York Times that said, "Why are Black mothers and babies in the United States dying at more than double the rate of white mothers and babies?" The answer has everything to do with the lived experience of being a Black woman in America. As a Black woman in America, my hair was on fire. I was like, what is going on here? Something's going on here that's not making any sense, and I just had to learn more. Why is this happening, and what can we do about it? I was invited to a panel, and one person in particular really caught my attention, and that was Charles Johnson.
This inability for the people that are being trusted with the lives of these precious women to see them and value them the same way that they would see their mother, their sister, their daughter.
After that evening, Charles went back to Georgia. Then the pandemic struck. When he finally came back to LA, we were able to talk about what he was going through.
I tell this story nearly every day, and it hurts every single time. Nearly 6 years later, I was fortunate enough, like I say all the time, to meet a woman that absolutely changed my life. And so when we talk about my wife, Kira, we're talking about literally the most amazing person I had ever met. We're talking about a woman that raced cars, who ran marathons, who had her pilot's license, who spoke 5 languages fluently. She was really sunshine personified, right? She walked into a room, she lit it up. We welcomed our first son, Charles V, in September of 2014. And so when we found out we were pregnant with Langston, our second son, we were over the moon. So excited, so ecstatic. It's important for everybody that's watching this or that hears this story to understand that throughout Kira's entire pregnancy, she was perfectly healthy. All signs pointed to her being perfectly healthy, as well as our new son, Langston, being perfectly healthy. So on April 12th of 2016, we walked into Cedars-Sinai Hospital for what we expected to be the happiest day of our lives, and we walked straight into a nightmare. We went in for what was supposed to be a routine scheduled C-section. Very importantly, at our doctor's recommendation, he recommended a cesarean because Kira had a cesarean birth with our first son, Charles, and we trusted him.
So let's see here. Here I am, pregnant with my first son, and I guess this is my baby shower. And here I am in the hospital getting ready to deliver, which was very nerve-wracking. I began to think about my 2 high-risk pregnancies that I'd had many years before. I started learning more about Black women and the fact that even educated Black women like myself who had resources were dying about the same rate as an 8th grade educated white woman. And I just didn't understand that income and education were not safety nets for me. There have been many studies that suggest that our lived experiences as Black women in America specifically are such that we have stress. And I know this for a fact as myself as a mother. You're kind of always looking over your shoulder, and it is stressful. But that can actually be passed down through the body to our children, that level of stress, the hypertension. So it seemed that there were some systemic issues at play. So, the Black women and brown women and their experiences were like the, canaries in the coal mine, kind of signaling that something deeper was at hand here. So I wanted to go further to talk to doctors in particular who are on the front lines of this situation.